Bill, first of all, it's an honor and a privilege to be here, and it's an honor and a privilege to be in your presence. I want to thank you for your service. You guys are my heroes. I want to tell the Rotary Club something cool I found out, that those two right there are husband and wife. and when I looked, I said, one of them said Stout, the other said Stout. I said, are y'all kin? They said, they're twins. And I said, and I kind of found out they're husband and wife, and he was deployed when they had her baby, and he saw it on FaceTime. But thank y'all. That's amazing that y'all as a family serve, and you too, guys. We are thankful. America's thankful for y'all. Don't ever think we don't ever forget about you. We pray for you every day. I promise you. I'd like to thank also Mayor Lowe, my predecessor, my neighbor, if you will. And I want to tell a quick story because he said he had to run out, and I'd like to share he and I's commitment to each other. On March the 3rd, 2019, Smith Station was devastated. So was Beauregard and Lee County. And we lost 23 lives. Probably $80-something million in structural damage that went through Smith Station. And the first phone call I got was from Mayor Lowe asking me what I needed. And that was 3:03 is when it happened. He called me probably 3:45. The second one was Skip Henderson from Columbus, asked me what I needed. And quickly before he leaves, I want to know that what happened in that storm, and I'll touch on it in again later, but it hit Beauregard first. So all of our first responders, red lights and blue lights, went to Beauregard because we had death over there. So Smith Station had no red lights or blue light whatsoever. Everybody's over there getting bodies out of trailers. Then it hit Smith Station, and we had devastation, especially on Lee Road 294. We were getting put out of the trailers, and he called, and I'm huffing and puffing. He said, what do you need? I said, I need blue lights. And he got on the phone with Ray Smith, and within 10 minutes, we had blue lights shutting down roads, and I can't thank him enough for that. And that's what this region needs. And I tell him all the time, rising tide floats all ships. I did not say roll tide. I said a rising tide floats all ships. But you know, it doesn't matter in the harbor when the tide comes in, every ship comes up. And that's what this region needs. We got to help each other. Just like the Roma Centurion, we're linked together. We got to go forward for the region. And that's Muskogee County and Lee County and Russell County. We're better together. Amen? Amen. So let's start here. This year, you know, I'm a humor man. Life's too serious not to be funny. So I apologize to you. You get to meet Bubba. I'm a real Bubba, born a Bubba. Nobody in this room even probably knows my real name except the judge when he put me in jail. But but some of you have heard this story. I want to get you going and where you're at. And there's tornadoes that come through. And first things first is my mama always told me, don't get above your raising. You know what that means? Don't try to be more than what you are. Just be who you are, because people are going to find out the truth about you anyway. So the storm come through, and on day 3, we are national news. Trump didn't do nothing that week, so nobody was covering him. The storm was that. And so I get a phone call from the New York Times, the Washington Post, Getty Images, way out of my league. Fox News, CNN, way out where I'm supposed to be. They want to come down on Wednesday and tour the devastation. So me being the mayor, there ain't nobody else to tour them. So they come down, and buddy, let me tell you, they were highfalutin people. And so we get in my truck, and I have a Tahoe, and I'm doing my best not to let my Alabama show. I'm trying my best to I was using big words like facetious and things like that, and probably all wrong, you know what I mean? But I think this is pretty facetious the way this looks, and they're like, you know. So we ride down the road, and this is a true story, I swear, for those who heard it. So we get out, and if you can't laugh at yourself, who can, you know? So we're riding down the road, and they're asking me these big questions, and I'm being as serious as I can, and it's a terrible situation, and we hop out, and we're walking down a road called Lee Road 318. You literally can't get in. It's blocked off. Trees everywhere, home parks everywhere. And I'm getting out, and I'm walking down the middle of the road, and they're all around me. I'm somebody, you know. And walking around me, they're asking me questions, and I'm showing them the devastation. And I see this Latino lady, Hispanic lady, coming for me, and she had a cameraman that was Hispanic, and she had a microphone in her hand. And the first thing you do as a mayor is find out what is on that microphone. And I was praying it was Channel 7 or Beam or somebody I knew, but it not. It said Telemundo. And I said, boy, this ought to be good. and so all these New York people get around me and everything, and she starts speaking in Spanish. I cannot speak in Spanish. She's, and I'm like, you know, she puts the microphone in my face, and the only thing that came to my mind was Feliz Navidad. that is the gospel truth of that story. So when she's fell over laughing and the cameraman's fallen over laughing, I said, no habla español. And the cameraman interpreted, that is a true story. So what has Smith Station been doing for the last year? Smith Station, we're continuing to grow. We are now part of the second fastest growing county in the state. Now, people that live in Russell County, I do not want you guys to say why, what do we do, or something like that. You are part of this region. The reason why we're growing so rapidly is because of Auburn University. It's nothing that anyone has done special or anything like that. Auburn has had to put a cap on student enrollment. Y'all read that in the paper last week. The region is growing. It's a place to be. Our high school education in all levels of Lee County is doing well. The city of Smith Station has now reached the top 15 fastest growing cities in the state, and that is because of our veterans. I want you guys to know that. 1 out of every 2 houses that are bought by a veteran family that's getting out of the military, and thank God for Fort Benning. Where would this region be without Fort Benning? Amen. You guys help our economy out a lot. So Smith Station is a great place to live. How are we growing? What is our plans? You know, those of you know what a planning commission is. We're trying to go in such a way that it benefits the city as a whole. Lot sizes, making sure that sewage is ran. We've run over 25,000 linear foot of sewage in Smith Station since I've been mayor. What does that mean? When you're rural and you're living on a septic tank, sewage is a huge deal. And luckily Phoenix City has sewage everywhere, very few septic tanks, but we have the majority of septic tanks. And so we've run 21,000 linear foot of sewage since then. We've got our first national business. The last time I met here, the question was, when am I getting married and when are we getting sewage? I ran sewage, so the question this year is, when is Love's opening? And so Love's is behind about 3 months, and that's simply because of the fact that they had some issues out on the highway with the water main. There's an 18-inch water main that runs to Opelika, and they have some issues on that. It should open mid-January with that. Our school system is doing great. You know, you're talking about the football team. My son goes to Glenwood, but at Smith Station, we always say wait till baseball and softball season and soccer season starts, because that's when we excel. Football and basketball, we have a hard time with. But the budget and statistics, we've grown the budget since taking over as mayor by 2.5% over what we were. We've got 23 months operating expenses, which is not a good thing. And I'd like to explain that to the Rotary. To give you an example, a city is not a for-profit organization. Neither is a water authority or a school system. The money that you get by the taxpayers should be used to benefit the taxpayers. And so we're looking at ways now to help our taxpayers. We've just applied for a grant. We were unable to get grants because of our median income. And we have just acquired a grant for $750,000 from the feds, from FEMA, to build a tornado shelter, and then Governor Ivey's new Rebuilding for America, Alabama. We got a $250,000 grant for that. So we have $1 million we're going to put into a tornado shelter, which we badly need. Since being mayor, we've had 5 tornadoes within 1 mile of each other. I truly believe in the thing they call the Alabama, the Dixie Alley that comes through Alabama. So I truly believe in that. Moving along with things that are going, Smith Station as a whole is doing well. We're looking to expand out there where the Love site is. There should be other businesses that are coming that we're talking to right now. And then housing, we have 287 housing applications out right now, 5 subdivisions, and they're continuing to grow. We have annexed about 38 acres into Smith Station since in the last 4 years, so it's looking bright. When I say about the average, the money that we have monthly operating expense, we're looking at ways to make the city better. And that you'll see some of that coming. Our park this year, and this is something I'm very proud of, we have a city park. We have the largest rec league in Alabama. We had over 2,800 kids that come through that. And of course they disperse. They're from Finney City, Columbus, and our soccer program is out of this world. So things are looking good out in Smith Station. We still have a long way to go. And as I told Mayor Lowe and Wallace, Mr. Wallace Hunter, we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and he says, you're doing great things. And I said, well, you know how to make cornbread dressing. He said, how do you make cornbread dressing? I said, well, you take the crumbs from the cornbread and you make dressing. I said, we just use y'all's cornbread to make dressing. So that's why I'm saying we all grow together. A lot of people have asked me over this year, what was it like to meet the president? Had an opportunity to meet the president, so I shall add humor again in this. I did not know I was going to meet the president. I had no idea. People are mad at me because they heard I may meet him and I didn't ever take them with me, but it wasn't like that. On a Tuesday, I got a call from the White House at 6 o'clock in the morning. It says, you're going to meet the president. Oh, how fantastic. You know, and I called my wife and I said, the president's going to meet me today. And she said, behave. I said, yes, ma'am. So I had a PIO, public information officer, that come from the state that was with me during the tornado. And he said, you need to be here at City Hall at XYZ time. So I got there, and lo and behold, we got in a black truck, and we went from Smith Station to Beauregard in about 14 minutes. For those of y'all don't know how that goes, the crow can't even fly that fast across there. We were gone. So we got over there, and again, I'm Bubba. The outer ring of people were sheriff's deputies with dogs, not the petting dogs, dogs. And the second ring was people in black with guns like this. And the next ring, everybody was relaxed. Had blue jean, Bermuda shorts, but they all had these things in their ear. And so they got that one and went over me. And lo and behold, being from Alabama, I always told you pocket knife. This is my new pocket knife. I lost that one. And so I lost that. And we get inside, and I'm trying to motivate myself to behave. And so we get in there, and they take us upstairs in the church, and we're in the back room in a Sunday school room, and we just sit there. And they said, the president will be here in 15 minutes. Make sure you're standing up when he comes in. I wasn't planning on sitting down. And so they're serious. Let me tell you, some Secret Service, they're serious. If y'all don't know, they're very serious about what they do. And they don't laugh. And so we're talking, and all of a sudden the cat comes in with a computer, and I'm on my phone, you know, and I'm Facebooking, you know, and I'm trying not to do anything stupid. And this cat comes in with a computer, raises up the screen, punches in a code. My computer went off. I mean, my phone went off. I'm not talking about I lost service. It went off. And it's, okay. And I stood there. Don't leave your hands in your pockets. I was there. And, you know, and then he takes these glow sticks and breaks them and starts putting them around the room. And I'm like, I'm finna die. I swear I'm finna die. and then all of a sudden he walks in, you know, and him and Melania and one of my heroes, Dr. Ben Carson, and the governor and Shelby and Jones and so other, and they're walking around, they're greeting people. And I want to take a moment. We all know that Trump sometimes says things like me, unapologetically who he is. And I truly believe he has the best interest at heart for what he thinks he's doing correctly. But there was a lady that lost her husband, her mother-in-law, and father-in-law that was standing there, and the president walks up to her, and he looks at her, and he knows her name, and he says, and I'm not going to tell her name for y'all, but he looks at her and he goes, I'm sorry. And he explains to Melania what happened. And then he pulls his phone out and he goes, this is my personal phone. And he pulls a business card out and he says, this is my personal number. And he said, one of my staffers is going to get your personal number. And he said, we're going to stay in touch. And he reached down and kissed her on the cheek, and she was an African-American lady. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And it changed my opinion as a whole. He's a good person from what I saw him do that. And he spent time with each person because they said he only had 2 minutes, have your questions ready. He took an hour with us, and there was 5 people in the room. Then he come to me, sadly, and Senator Shelby said, this is Bubba. He's from the reddest city in the state of Alabama. Smith Station, and then they all start giggling. He says, President says, "Is your name really Bubba?" And I said, "President Trump, my name's really Bubba." And Melania's looking at me like crazy. And then we just have a good time. We laughing, cutting up. He slaps her on the shoulder. He's about 6'5". I promise you, he's tall. And then he says, "Would you like to go downstairs with me and walk out in front of everybody?" And I'm like, "Okay." So we go downstairs and we walk out. It's the most amazing thing. He's not as bad as people think he is. That's the whole point of that story. I'm supposed to give a speech on Thanksgiving, and I shall give a speech on Thanksgiving. We all have something to be thankful for. The first thing I'm thankful for is you guys in this room. Every single one of you are my friend. I can call on you, you can call on me. When we see each other, we hug, we laugh, we cut up. Life is too serious not to have friends. We must laugh with each other. First of all, you woke up this morning. Be thankful. Number two, we just ate. Another reason to be thankful. We live in the United States of America. You are 90% better off than the rest of the world just by living here. None of us deserve that. This past year, one of the worst things happened to me in my life. We had one of our high school students who committed suicide. I'd like to take a moment there to get to where I'm going. We had a high school senior that was Miss Smith Station. She was in charge, president of the student class, president of the student section, a cheerleader, the prom queen. She killed herself in the middle of the night. Her parents had a fuss. She goes upstairs, gets a gun, shoots herself. It changed my life. I was in Biloxi when the coroner called. I was at a food show, and he said, "You need to get home." And watching how that changed that student body. 3 weeks later, we had another girl committed suicide. In Smith Station, we've had 5 kids commit suicide in the past 2019. We have an epidemic in America. I was sitting there talking to the judges just a minute ago. We have an epidemic with teenagers and mental health. I challenge you to teach your young people to be thankful for what they have. And what is inside this little black box is not reality. I think that's the problem right now in America, that kids look on the phone and they think what they see is reality, because everybody wants to put the good things. Nobody talks about the day that they fell down, or the day they bounced a check, or when they had whatever. We must tell our children the reality of life, because if we continue to let it all be Skittles and rainbows, they can't deal with it. That's what's going on right now. So during this Thanksgiving season, I challenge you, as you sit around the table with your family, tell them the things they have to be thankful for. And it's real hard to get through to teenagers, but if you just sit for a moment and say, "We are so thankful to just be living in America." And that's why I told you on the opening of my speech how thankful I am for you, because when I'm asleep, you guys are protecting me, and I'm so very thankful, especially our first responders and so on and so forth. So let's go out of our way to tell others to be thankful. No matter what the bad things happen to you this year, you still have a better life than 90% of the world. Be thankful. That is all I have. If you have any questions for me. I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship this year, all of you. Thank you.